And as our guest is coming on today, technology and the advancement, the STEM program, those are subjects or those are things that can really close that gap between black and white, that economic gap.
Mm-hmm.
So to our author, welcome to the village.
All right.
We
Welcome.
appreciate the time you are taking with us.
Thank
And
you. Thanks for having.
we know that you ride the front of the bus, not the back of the bus.
That's right. That's right.
Welcome.
Hi.
Oh,
Welcome, Miss Brooks. Welcome.
hello.
Hi.
Please, we at times go off on tangents,
A
but
lot.
excuse Roderick's behavior. He's the less civil one of us. We want to welcome you. We just want to warn you. Okay? So welcome to
Okay.
the village.
I've been warned.
Hamna.
Miss Brooks.
That's all I got to say. Hamna.
Could you introduce yourself to our viewers for you, Miss Brooks?
I don't know. I can't even hear. What was repeat it? That hum
Can you
was all in my ear.
Can you introduce yourself to us?
Yes, my name is LaTanya Brooks. I am an educator, but I'm also an entrepreneur and an author. So I refer to myself as an edupreneur.
Okay.
I like that. Edupreneur. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And you're from the great state of Texas, huh?
I'm from Texas.
You mean,
Wait, hold on.
you mean
hold on.
Governor Abbott, Ted Cruz?
No,
Huh?
Wait, LaTanya, can you say it again?
Yes,
Say, where you from again?
I'm from Texas.
I'm from Texas. I
You
like
hear
that.
I'm from
that?
Texas,
Yes.
Which part of Texas?
Houston.
Okay, I have friends and family out there. Awesome.
Okay.
My God, brothers out there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Nice place. Never visit. Have you ever been to say a game?
No.
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 All right, cool. I like the shirt. Can you highlight the shirt? What is the shirt? Or tell us what the shirt says.
Oh, yeah, it says, oh, sorry, I'm looking at myself in the camera. Grow with STEM, together we can. And this is my company's logo for Grow with STEM.
All right, so
LaTanya, question is,
we're gonna send her the mailbox for the
but why? Well, I just want to know why STEM.
No, I want to
Come on,
wait. I want to
He's
send her the
this is
PO
what
box.
we do. Look, this is what
No, LaTanya, I'm just saying I want to mail you the PO box so you can send us a couple of that shirt because I like it.
Okay, I will.
That's where. Go ahead.
Why
So
STEM?
can you tell us what
Why
type of
STEM?
book you actually write? I'm interested in that.
Okay, I have two questions coming to me. So first, I'm going to answer the question, why STEM, and what types of books do I write and why?
Absolutely.
So I chose STEM because I was already teaching technology, and I started to see a trend where things were being taken away. A lot of change was taking place with technology, and I started looking at STEM it was an initiative with my district. And they were looking at bringing more STEM into the school. So Shell got us all together. They sponsored this program, and we started talking about all the careers, all the advantages. And then we started talking about the makeup of the STEM careers. We talked about the fact that women make up over half or just about half of the workforce, but we only make up about 28% of STEM careers. 73% of STEM careers is white male. If you look at speaking of women, if you look at the Black women, we make up 3%, with Mexican women 4%. And then if you look at Blacks overall, we are like lagging behind. We're like between Hispanics and Blacks, we're somewhere between 9 and 12%. These are good jobs. These are good paying jobs. These are sustainable jobs that's going to be around. And these are jobs that if a child starts to dream of now, once they graduate, these jobs are going to be there, because there's so many jobs that are that used to be, and I've talked to my students about this, that used to be, that no longer exist. And that's going to be the same thing that's going to be happening in the future. just heard recently that Tesla, not Tesla, yeah, it is Tesla. Tesla's, they're coming out with more humanoid, um, artificial intelligent robots. And we already know the story on Amazon.
Right.
So the reason why, because STEM is the future. And okay, and it stands STEM because some people ask me, so STEM, what is STEM? What does it stand for? It's science, technology, engineering, and math. And so when you look at STEM careers, those are careers that are not mundane, repetitive. Those are careers that actually require you to think and to problem solve, to use judgment, things that AI is not capable of right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The type of books that I write books that inspire kids to pursue these careers. I write it in a fun way. I don't like to preach to kids or tell them this is what you need to do or have to do it. This is why you do it. I make my characters out of heroes. I have them doing amazing things. I talk about why they are choosing this, whether they want to save the world. Marisol, a little girl with a big dream, she was very concerned about pollution. She wanted to be an environmental chemist. Adam Baum he's autistic. He wants to be a mechanical engineer. And he ends up saving the day, even though he was being bullied and people often ostracized him and just bullied him because he was different. But, the message in that book is sometimes we're different, but no two people are alike.
That's true.
Everybody's different.
Mhm.
And sometimes those things that make us different are the things that make us special.
Yes.
And when I say special, it's like, because when I think of autism, about 80% of autistic people, children, autistic adults, about 80% are either unemployed or underemployed. But if you look at the skill set that they bring in and unique perspectives, they don't have the communication skills often. And I'm not going to keep saying they, because once you met one person with autism, you met one person with autism, because the spectrum, there's a wide array. And what affects one person doesn't, but there are some common things that they share. And many of the autistic people, it's the lack of communication. So employers are busy looking for those basic soft skills when they are passing up somebody that can actually offer them a unique perspective because of the way they think. I don't call it a disability, I call it neurological diversity, because they think differently. And, we need people that think outside the box. So this is Adam Baum, the autistic engineer. So my books are always going to feature the underdog. When I say underdog, I mean it's going to feature people that are being underrepresented. So this is Marisol. She's Hispanic. She's Mexican. She's from Mexico, and kept the book really authentic. Okay, so that when my kids at my school read it, it feels right. They can see themselves. So it's important that our children have books that they can see themselves in.
Marisol,
I love it.
when you do me a favor, can you read like a page or two for one of your books, so when it stays live on YouTube and Facebook, that people can hear what it is that they're introducing their children to, or their school district, because we do have a lot of educators on and local leaders as well.
Okay, so I'm going to read an excerpt out of Adam Baum. I think because it's one of my favorite excerpts. Adam usually preferred to play alone. Marisol and Cam were kind, though, and often liked to invade his private world. Adam really didn't seem to mind. "What you doing?" Marisol asked, coming up from behind him. "Why are you over here all alone?" Adam shrugged. "I like playing alone, but you can play with me if you like." Adam knew that when Cam and Marisol looked at him, they didn't see a friend with autism. They just saw him, their friend Adam.
Mm,
I know that I'm a
mm.
little different, he continued, and other kids think that I am weird. Marisol quickly interrupted. Of course you're different. Guess what? So is everyone else. No two people are the same, right, Cam? That's right, said Cam. Everyone has different talents and quirks that make them special. So what if you have a curious mind and you like to figure things out? That doesn't make you weird. It makes you smart. Did you know that Albert Einstein, Mozart, and Isaac Newton were believed to be autistic?
Mm.
Hey, maybe you can be the next Einstein, exclaimed Marisol.
Right, right.
Awesome. That
Yeah. I have a quick couple of questions for you quickly. Sorry,
Yes.
Roger.
that's good.
What made you go towards autism, like to use artistic character in your book?
I have two relatives that are autistic.
Mm-hmm.
When my little cousin was about 5 years old, I used to watch him break things down and put them back together like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
And my character is modeled after him because my character does something similar. Um, I also have two best friends, and each of them has an autistic son.
Mm.
And my characters also, I took like all of the different spectrums and all of the different people in my life, and I modeled the character after them.
Okay.
I talked to the moms. They read the book. They, read all the drafts, and they would make corrections because they would look and say, "No, that is not really how they think."
Mm.
Or that's not, no, my son would never say that. So, because my goal is to write books that children see themselves in and to make those characters as authentic as possible.
Right.
So, and I was inspired by The Good Doctor. I'm gonna admit I was inspired by The Good Doctor. I love watching that, and that's what really made me decide to make him a mechanical engineer because I did some research, and I looked at job listings for mechanical engineers, and I took notes as I watched The Good Doctor, and I was writing down all the strengths and gifts of the character.
Mhm.
And then I meshed my list together, and because I looked up different types of engineers. I was like, I know I want him to be an engineer, but I don't know what kind. And so it just made sense to make him want to be a mechanical. It just made sense.
Yes. Now, another thing, who illustrated? Because I'm noticing the one with the little girl. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Who is the illustrator? I'm interested.
Which one? With this little girl here?
Yes, yes.
I didn't have the same illustrator for all books. So
Okay.
this book was originally illustrated. I had it published. This was my first book. This is not the original cover. This is the original cover. But I noticed I wasn't getting much money for my books. And it was my first book I had never published. I went to a vanity publisher. So I talked to them. I looked over my contract and realized I could take my work back. So when I took it back, I made it look a little different. And
Wait, hold
I
it back up. Wait. That was
and I
so
was
cool.
able to keep the illustrations.
Okay, I see. One with butterflies. Okay.
Yeah, butterflies, the Spanish word for butterfly is mariposa.
Okay.
And butterfly stands for dreams and beauty. So I thought that was very symbolic. And I have a lot of, because I also have it in Spanish. So when I put it out in Spanish. I put little activities and questions in the back of the book. And I republished it under my own publishing label. My publishing label is Next Level Book Publishing. So
Congrats.
that was already created, and I brought in the artwork that she had done.
Okay.
For this book, my illustrator is in Bogota, Colombia. It was great working with him. His name is Luis. And it was real important because I had to put Marisol in this book. She was my first character, and I wanted to bring her over. And the reason that I wanted to bring her over is because when I read Marisol to my students, they absolutely fell in love with the book, and they fell in love with Marisol. And they told me that I have to continue the journey. They want to know what Marisol is going to do next.
Oh,
And
that's
I told him, I was like, yeah, I said, but I need to represent different people. I can't just keep talking about Marisol. I have other people that I want. I want to create this vision where other people can see themselves. So that was my compromise to my students because
but
I always get their
So
advice.
you
but you
And
have
touched on
intake.
this this book is actually modeled after my cousin. This is Aubrey.
your what son? Your
And
godson?
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear you say after your son or your godson. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, this is my cousin.
Oh,
And her name, yes, her name is Aubrey.
Okay.
And I decided, I don't know, this book was inspired after Kamala won her vice presidency.
Oh, this
And I
this
just noticed along with that, there was like this women movement, and a lot of women started to run for office and win positions in office and just begin to let their voices be heard a little more. So, and then I saw that picture, and I know everybody's seen it, the one that said, Rosa sat so Ruby could walk, so Kamala
yes.
could run. I saw that picture and I was like, I want to make a book about women. It just
Right.
so it's a brown girl like me. So and then my cousin, I looked at Ruby Bridges. I was like, she reminds me of Ruby Bridges. So she's in the book. She turns into a cartoon character and turns back into a human at the end, and it's a really cute story.
That's excellent. I want to touch on Joanne and I are both in education from in the classroom. John is from an area of education where he was part of the funding and dealing with people activism in education. So all three of us are passionate, very, very passionate about education, but we also understand the lack of women and boys, especially black and brown boys in the field of STEM and STEAM, like STEM and STEAM.
Mhm.
And so one of the questions that I have for you is like, do you think the underrepresentation of blacks in STEM and STEAM is because we do not want to get into the field because of the lack of knowledge, or do you think it's something else? Like, what do you think is the provoking factor that inhibits us from partaking? Do you think it's because, I don't know, our parents were not involved in it? It's not supported by our parents, our families, because we don't. And again, it goes back to we're not seeing people that look like us in these things. What are your thoughts on that?
So that's what I was getting. I was just about to say that a lack of exposure and a lack of role models, because when you look at the low numbers, that means we don't have a lot of people to look up to, or that we can not look up to in a general sense, but look up to that are in STEM related careers that are because I know when I look through my brochures and I'm looking for a black female doctor, I'm like, where are they? So I think it's a lack of exposure. With some families, I think it's a lack of knowledge. If you don't have anybody in your family that has gone to college, and if you're a first generation college student, you're winging it. You're trying to figure out.
So I want to be more thought provoking, right? Why is it that somebody hears LaTanya Brooks on The Village talking about that there's economic growth for persons of color if they do this, because the salary is very high paying. Tesla pays a lot of money. Google, Amazon, especially if you work on their IT site.
Yeah.
Why is it that we are refusing to reach out to these areas? What do you think? I mean, maybe you don't have that answer, or maybe
I don't really think that we're refusing. I just think that just from what I see, and this does not apply to everybody, But I know sometimes my son is out there and he was like, why does he'll go to a certain area, he'll hang out with people. He was like, why does everybody want to be a rapper or an athlete? So I think they look up to these as role models. They see the potential of making millions of dollars. And the truth is, with sports and with music, it's a small percentage that actually make it.
But they don't
And
see that, right? They don't see it because it's not.
they're
It's,
not.
it's glorified
They
different.
see it. They look at it and they see this glamour and they think it's easy money,
Right.
and they just think that anybody can do it. And I always tell my students, you need a plan B. Like I had one student who told me he wanted to be a soccer player. I said, okay, so what's your plan B? I
You
know
know,
some people say don't do a plan B because you do a plan B, that means that you're already setting yourself up for failure. But I don't, especially when it comes to sports. Like, I think you have to have a plan B because you never know when you're going to get injured. You never know what's going to happen.
I like to tell my students that is your plan B. What is your plan A? Right? So I switch it around. It's not. That's not. All right. That's not your plan A. That's your plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, you know, and one of the conversations that I have with students is look at your family. Look at your family. And when you look at the music industry, the rap industry, the art industry, all those industries that are out there, you will find that it's a lot of people who are involved. It's generational. Even sports is generational, right? So Beyonce and Sean Carter and Jay-Z, what's her name? Blue Ivory, is that her name? Blue Ivory. Right? What happened? She's going to be involved, right?
It's already involved.
When you look at what's the guy what's that rapper out there that went to Kardashian? What's her husband name? Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
And North and whatever the other one named South.
Southwest, Northwest.
Yeah, whatever food names she gave. Right? They're involved. And so what I also pointed out, and I'm so glad that you focus on STEAM, because our young people need to understand that you have to be able to have your plan A, and there's nothing wrong with sports or entertainment, performing arts to be your plan B. There's nothing wrong with that. So when you get up, I just want to maybe we think about switching from plan A to plan B, because they need to understand that the sports is plan B, because it's less than 1% of all basketball players make it to NBA. One of the things I did in physical education class, which kind of helped the STEAM, and I try to get kids to do that, is when I taught physical education, I would say to the children, for example, how many of you want to be a basketball player? And because there's 150 kids in the gym. How many want to be a basketball player? Okay, I have 50 or 60 raise their hand. How many kids can be on the team? How many people can play basketball at one time?
15.
Right? Not one time. 5. How many can make the team? 15. Right? So then I go on to, then I would also go on to other sports. Right? Baseball is 24. And then you keep going. And then you find that one thing they begin to start seeing, especially when you get to high school, that it's not so easy to make the team, because now you have all these teams. So one, you have to look at different sports: swimming, gymnastics, wrestling, those kind of, lacrosse, all those lesser, well, I don't want to call them lesser sports, those other sports that can also give you scholarship. But then also to point out programs that help you with STEAM, funding that help you with STEAM, and what STEAM does. Because you sometimes see the end results, you don't see the work results, and some people don't have the work habits nor the ability to do that. So STEAM to me is so vital for everyone.
I have a question.
This particular student, I told him I asked him what his plan B was. Then I recruited him, because I teach pre-K through 8. So by the time he made it to middle school, he was taking my Principles of Info Technology course getting a high school credit and going towards its certification. So I noticed that because that was about 2 years later, because I started doing reality check with them. They have to do this cost of living project, and they have to think realistically about careers, and the data that they go to. It shows them the likelihood, it shows them the stats, it shows them the salary. And I had and these are 10 and 11-year olds that make decisions, at an early age, just based on data. So one of my students, he was in the 5th grade, and he looked at it and he was like, this is what I was thinking I wanted to be when I grow up, but I'm looking at the numbers. There's not a lot of openings or even availability out in this. He was like, I'm going to have to do something different. And so he decided, so some students decided, okay, I'm going to have to pursue something a little different, or I'm going to have to lower my standards of living. And most students took the other route. They decided to look for a different career, something that would exist, something that would pay well, and something that would support their cost of living. I had a few students like, look, I'm very passionate about this. I love this. Is what I've always wanted to do. And so I'll just lower my standard of living. So
See,
I had a student last week tell me that she wanted to be a TA, and I just looked at it. I said, no, you don't.
let
She
me
was like, I do, but I love kids. I was like, no, you don't.
What
let
do you
me
mean by TA? Teacher's assistant?
Teacher assistant.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you, STEM is an area where you find more blacks, not blacks, but more male. What can be done to recruit more females into STEM? And what can be done to recruit? I'm listening to you stating that the kids are looking at the data and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I should choose a different field. No, they should stay in it and also create their own position or create something. They need to become leaders in that, not to back away because of the fact that they don't see jobs being created for that. No, they need to be
Correct.
the leaders to say, hey, you know what? There's not enough of us in this field. And even little girls, there's not enough of us in here. Let's create our own. So what is being done?
Now, there are some fields that are just dying
before
fields. You have
answer,
to make
right,
those common sense decisions. There are some fields that are just dying, and that happened to be one of those fields.
I just want to also put you in the why. All right. So the why are they not enticed into this position? So if you throw that in there while you answer.
Women,
Yeah.
Women,
think
yes,
the girls.
specifically women, yes.
Girls, when they look at a lot of the girls, when they look at some of the jobs that are held, they're not being encouraged by their parents sometimes. And I feel that when girls look at STEM careers, they look at these careers as male careers, and they don't think that it interests them. But if you, and it's like my book, My Soul, if they can be passionate about something, and girls, a lot of the girls we notice, they really like to do things that will help the world. They like to do things that will make something better. So if you just introduce them to different problem solving, and it could even the glamour girls, I talk to them about the perfume industry. We do things that's interesting to them. We teach them how to make jewelry and bracelets and stuff using 3D printing machines. And they'll start off just like in certain things that people think that girls should like, but they'll end up delving a little deeper into it and deciding that maybe they want to be a mechanical drafter. Maybe they want to be a chemist. Maybe they want to be a doctor. And when I say STEM, the nursing field, the doctor field, the medical field, all of that I feel is related. So what I have them look at is I'll do I'm trying to think of the name of what I do. It's like a questionnaire. I have them because I have them do the reality check, but I also have them do the questionnaire. So there's this questionnaire, and they don't know what these questions are leading to. And once they finish looking at the question, doing the questionnaire, we tally up the numbers, and it puts them in a specific field, and say this based on the things that you like, based on your personality and characteristics, the way you answered these questions, these are your 3 top interests. And so then it gives them jobs it gives them a list of different types of jobs in those industries. So sometimes the girls are like, I put them there without forcing them there. I just let them do the research on their own, and I don't like to come out as preachy. And sometimes I don't even agree with them, and I'll sit there and just listen to them. And I'll slowly give them information. Like the one that wanted to be a TA, and I told her, I was like, I don't have anything against TAs, but
it's big.
I pass by every once in a while and see her sneaking on the screen, and I was like, girl, you're gonna have a shopping habit. I've seen your taste. You have expensive taste. I was like, and that was just last week. She started looking up salaries. She started looking at different careers. We talked about different interests. So I believe that I believe you just have to start with them early. You just have to start early. You have to gain their interest. You have to I would say trick them into it sometimes, because they don't really think about it. But if they do, because they love those little magazines where you take these little personality quizzes and stuff, and so they have fun doing it. And when they do it, they look into it, and so it causes them to start researching, and they'll become interested in some of those things because as long as they answer the questions honestly,
right?
It's like, oh yeah, this sounds like something I could do.
So
you know what?
I have first of all, I want to thank you, right? I want to thank you for being here and advocating for our young Black and brown individuals, for them to start getting involved in more STEAM. And I think the more they're here,
big up,
right? The more
big up.
They'll do. So I have one question, and then and I think Joanne had a question.
I don't really have a question. I have a statement.
Okay, so let me ask her the question then first. So the question is, when we are in school, and one of the things in New York City, where we're from, they minimize the amount of sciences that you need to learn in school, and that affects STEAM. They cut out technology. They don't cut out. They minimize, and let's not use the word cut out. They minimize the technology. So, what are 1 or 2 courses that you would think, if you were the chancellor, the superintendent out there in Houston, that you would implement immediately to offset some of the disadvantage that has happened over the years for STEAM? I say STEAM, but let's say STEM, because you focus on STEM. So you're talking to the district personnel.
When I look at our offerings, we have engineering courses. We really offer a lot in our district. We teach science at my school in particular. We teach science in a classroom, but we also have science as an ancillary and as an elective.
Not what you do. I'm glad you do it, but I want to know you're the
no. But when I look at that catalog, it's the district's catalog that I'm looking at. I do like the fact that they start offering coding, and they offer the curriculum for coding at a young age. I feel like that's the most important. And I know science is important, but I like the fact that coding, when students are doing it, the way it's presented to them, it's fun. They like to do it. They're learning how to code and how to program without realizing that they're learning those critical thinking skills. They're learning to problem solve. They're learning about inquiries. And as far as science, I'm more for engineering than just basic science. I wish they, that would be my wish, to just offer more courses in different disciplines of engineering.
Yes. So I wanted to state that I do thank you for writing the book. Big time, big time. And where can we order some of your books? Hey, I want to order one or two of my books, your books, to
Mhm.
introduce to some of the students
And
in the
have
state
you reached out
library.
to like the New York
Mhm.
City Department of Education science piece as well while you're talking
I,
about that?
I haven't yet. I wrote my first book 2017. Um, COVID shut me down for a while. I had to cancel book launches and stuff like that. But now
I
I
will
have
be
a
calling you.
publicist.
I will
So
be
I'm
calling
sure
you.
we're going to be working our way towards that. I have a publicist now.
Okay. So I'll be
So
calling
I have
you.
help. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm also I'm the teacher at my school. The IT person at my school. I'm the formative assessment coordinator.
You wear
So I'm like busy all day. So it feels good to have somebody that's helping me with this stuff, because at first I was doing everything by myself. And now I have, because I'm even the publisher for my books. I put everything together, publish them, and they're under my label. So they're available. If you go to my site, growwithstem.com,
girl with
mhm, it gives you all the information, and there's a link for you to purchase books. When you click on that link, it'll take you to my other site, which is Next Level Book Publishing, and that site will allow you to publish the books.
And
I see your dog
last,
is wagging his tail.
yes, I lastly, I want to thank you for reminding us that we need to educate more people about STEM. Not only the children at a young age, but the parents, the community, to see that there's more out there than just what they see in a small little box. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a part of our village community this evening. And please do not be a stranger again, because we need you for World Read Aloud Day. I'll share your
Oh,
information
yeah, that'd
and
be fun.
all over. So thank you again. And we appreciate you, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right.
Okay, well, thanks for having me.
And thank you for following our motto of success is not just spoken, it is done. Because you're out there doing something for success and letting our children, especially our black and brown boys and girls, to be successful. So we do appreciate it more than you know, and it takes a village. So God bless.
It does. It does.
Yes.
All right. Have a
Great.
great night.
Bye bye.